Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Daily Echo English channel. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today, we are going to talk about something magical. We are going to talk about storytelling. Now, I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, Francis, I am not a writer. I am not a movie director. I just want to speak English. But here's the secret. Every conversation is a story. When you tell your friend about your weekend, that is a story. When you explain why you were late for work, that is a story. When you talk about your favorite food, even that is a small story. But for many English learners, storytelling is difficult. It feels heavy. It feels complicated. You have the idea in your head. Maybe in your native language, the story is funny and exciting, but when you speak in English, the story becomes flat. It becomes a list. You say, I went to the park. I saw a dog. It was nice. I went home. Technically, this is correct English. The grammar is fine. The vocabulary is fine. But does it feel alive? Does it make the other person want to listen? No, it feels like a robot report. It feels like a list of facts. I did this, then I did this, then I did this. Today, we are going to change that. We are not going to learn difficult grammar. We are not going to memorize 1,000 new words. We are going to learn a simple structure. I call it the story flow. This is a way to take those simple, flat sentences and turn them into a river that flows, that moves, and that carries the listener with you. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to take a simple fact like, I lost my keys, and turn it into a moment of connection. You will learn how to use feeling words to paint a picture. You will learn how to use time markers to create movement, and you will learn how to end a story so that people remember it. Are you ready? Let's begin. First, let's understand the biggest mistake learners make. The biggest mistake is focusing only on the action. Learners think a story is just a list of verbs: went, saw, ate, liked, slept. But human beings do not connect with actions. We connect with emotions and reasons. So, the first part of our story flow is what I call the setup. Imagine you are watching a movie. The movie does not start with the explosion. The movie starts with the character. It shows you where they are. It shows you how they feel. You need to do this in your English. Before you say what happened, you must tell us the context. Let's look at an example. Bad setup. I went to a restaurant yesterday. This is boring because I don't know why you went. I don't know how you felt. Good setup. I was really hungry yesterday and I didn't want to cook, so I decided to try that new Italian place. Do you see the difference? It is very simple. I added two things. A feeling, hungry, and a reason, didn't want to cook. Suddenly, you are not just a robot moving to a restaurant, you are a human being with a feeling. Let's try another one. Bad setup. I bought a new phone. Good setup. My old phone was completely broken and very slow, so I was so excited to finally buy a new one. Now I am interested. I understand your pain. The old phone was slow, and I understand your happiness, excited. So, rule number 1 of the story flow, never start with the action. Start with the feeling or the situation. Use words like, I was tired, I was excited, it was a busy day, I was feeling lonely. These words open the door. They invite the listener inside your head. Now, let's move to the second part of the story flow. This is the journey. In the journey, we need to move from one action to the next, but we cannot just say and. If you say "and" too much, your English sounds like a little child. I woke up and I brushed my teeth and I ate breakfast and I went to school. Instead, we need time markers. Time markers are the road signs in your story. They tell the listener where we are going. Here are the 3 most powerful time markers for simple stories. You do not need complex ones. You just need these 3. At first, then, or suddenly, finally. Let's see how this changes a simple story. Here is the robot version. I lost my passport. I was scared. I found it in my bag. I was happy. Now let's use our time markers. At first, I couldn't find my passport anywhere. I was looking in my pockets and on the table. Then I started to feel really scared because my flight was leaving in 1 hour. Suddenly, I remembered I had a small pocket in my bag. Finally, I found it there, and I felt so relieved. Do you hear the rhythm? At first, then, suddenly, finally. It gives the story a shape. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. At first sets the scene. It tells us the problem. Then, or suddenly, tells us the change. Something happens. The story moves. Finally, tells us the solution, the result. Let's practice this. I want you to imagine a situation. Imagine you are cooking dinner and you burn the food. How would you tell this story? Do not just say, "I burned the dinner. We ordered pizza." Use the markers. At first, everything was going well. The vegetables were chopped and the water was boiling. Then my phone rang and I started talking to my mother. I forgot about the stove. Suddenly, I smelled something burning. Smoke was everywhere. Finally, I had to throw the food away and we just ordered pizza. This is a story. It is a simple event, but because you used the markers, it sounds like a real experience. It is not about the vocabulary complexity. Smell, burn, phone, pizza, these are A1 words, but the structure makes it sound B2 or C1. Now, I want to pause here for a moment because I have a confession to make. I am sorry I did not tell you who I am in the last video. My name is Francis and I am your host on the Daily Echo English channel. My friend calls me Frank for short. Do you want to be my friend? Then subscribe. It really helps us grow this community of kind, motivated learners just like you. Okay, let's get back to the lesson. We have the setup, feelings, reasons, and we have the journey, time markers. Now we need the third part, the color. What is color in a story? Color is detail, but be careful. Many students think detail means adjectives. They try to use big, fancy words they found in a dictionary. It was an exquisite, magnificent, tumultuous day. No, that does not sound natural. That sounds like a book from 1850. In spoken English, color means describing your reaction. How did you react to the situation? What did you think? What did you want to do? Let's look at the burning dinner story again. We said, suddenly I smelled something burning. Let's add color, reaction. I panicked. I ran to the kitchen as fast as I could. Or in the lost passport story, we said, I started to feel really scared. Let's add color, thought. I thought, oh no, I am going to miss my holiday. I was sweating. I panicked. My hands were shaking. I couldn't believe it. I laughed so hard. These are reaction phrases. They add color. Let's practice adding color to a boring sentence. The bus was late. This is a fact. It is black and white. Let's add color. The bus was late, and I was getting so frustrated. I kept checking my watch every 30 seconds. I thought I was going to be late for the meeting. Now I can see you. I can see you checking your watch. I can feel your stress. You were painting a picture. So when you tell a story, do not just stay on the outside. Go inside. Tell us what your body did. Tell us what your mind did. Did you freeze? Did you smile? Did you want to cry? Did you want to scream? Tell us that. That is the human connection. Now, let's put it all together. The setup, the journey, and the color. I'm going to tell you a story about going to the supermarket. A very boring topic, right? But let's use the story flow. Step 1, the setup, feeling or reason. I was really tired yesterday after work, and the last thing I wanted to do was go grocery shopping. But my fridge was completely empty, so I had to go. See, you understand my feeling. Tired, reluctant. Step 2, the journey with time markers. And step 3, color, reactions. At first it was okay. I just needed milk and bread. I was walking fast because I wanted to go home. Then I saw the chocolate section, and you know I love chocolate. I tried to walk past it, but I couldn't. I thought, just one bar. Suddenly, I looked at my basket and realized I had put 5 different chocolate bars in there. I don't know how it happened. I just lost control. Finally, I went to the checkout. The cashier looked at my milk, my bread, and my 5 chocolate bars. She smiled at me. I felt a little embarrassed, but honestly, I was happy to have the chocolate. This is a simple story about buying chocolate, but it works. Why? Because it follows the flow. It has a setup. It uses at first, then, suddenly, finally, and it has color. I felt embarrassed. I lost control. Now I want to talk about something very specific, the ending. Many students do not know how to stop talking. They tell the story and then they just stop, or they say, yes, that is it. This can be awkward. It's like walking off a cliff. We need a landing. The landing is a short sentence that summarizes the feeling or the lesson of the story. It tells the listener, the story is finished, you can speak now. Here are some great phrases for the landing. So it was a pretty good, bad, or crazy day. Anyway, I learned my lesson. But in the end, it was okay. I'm just glad it's over. Let's go back to our examples. The passport story. Finally, I found it there and I felt so relieved. I'm just glad I didn't miss my flight. Landing. The burnt dinner story. Finally, we ordered pizza, but in the end, the pizza was actually delicious, so it was okay. Landing. The supermarket story. I felt a little embarrassed, but hey, at least I have chocolate for the whole week. When you use a landing phrase, your voice naturally goes down. It signals to the other person that it is their turn to speak. It creates a smooth transition. Now, let's address a fear. Many of you are listening to this and thinking, but Francis, I cannot think this fast. I cannot think of at first and then and reaction while I am speaking. My brain freezes. This is normal. The brain cannot do 2 things at once perfectly when you are learning. You cannot focus on grammar and story structure and vocabulary all at the same time. So, here is my advice. Slow down. Speed is not fluency. Speed is often just nervousness. When you start your story, take a breath. Say, you know, or actually. Give yourself time. If you forget a word, do not stop the story. Describe the word. If you forget the word for checkout, say, the place where you pay. If you forget the word for embarrassed, say, I felt my face go red. This is actually better. I felt my face go red is more descriptive than I was embarrassed. So, missing a word can actually help your storytelling. Let's practice with a new scenario. I want you to build this story in your mind as I speak. The topic is, you met an old friend on the street. How do we start? The setup. Do not just say, I met John. How were you feeling before you met him? Were you in a rush? Were you having a normal day? I was walking to the bank this morning, just minding my own business. Now, the journey. Suddenly, I heard someone call my name. I turned around and I couldn't believe it. Now, the color. It was my friend John from high school. I haven't seen him for 10 years. I was so shocked. He looked completely different. So we went for coffee and talked for an hour. It was really nice to catch up. Simple, natural, effective. I want to talk about one more advanced technique before we finish. This is called the dialogue. In your stories, try to use a little bit of direct speech. Instead of saying, he told me he was angry, say, he looked at me and said, I am so angry. When you use the exact words, you become an actor. You change your voice a little bit. My boss came to my desk and said, Francis, we need to talk. This is much more scary and exciting than my boss wanted to speak with me. Let's look at the difference. Level 1, my mom told me to clean my room. Level 2, my mom opened the door and yelled, clean this room right now. Level 2 is a story. Level 1 is a report. You do not need to do this for every sentence. Just one little quote in your story makes it come alive. It breaks the rhythm. It wakes up the listener's brain. So let's review our story engine. The setup, context, and feeling. I was tired. I was excited. The journey, time markers. At first, then, suddenly, finally. The color, reactions and thoughts. I panicked. I was laughing. I thought. The landing, a summary sentence. Anyway, it was a good day. I challenge you to practice this today. You do not need a speaking partner. You can do this alone. Look at your day. Pick one small thing that happened. Maybe you spilled your coffee. Maybe you saw a cute cat. Maybe you heard a funny song. Take that small thing and put it through the story engine. Say it out loud. I was sitting at my desk, feeling a bit sleepy. Setup. Then I reached for my coffee. Journey. Suddenly, my hand slipped and the coffee went everywhere. Journey. I was so embarrassed because my colleague was watching. Color. Finally, I cleaned it up, but my shirt smells like coffee now. Landing. If you do this every day with one small event, your brain will change. You will stop translating words and you will start seeing structures. You will start thinking in setup, journey, landing. And when you speak to a native speaker, they will not just hear your English, they will see your movie. Remember, a story is a gift. When you tell a story, you are giving someone a piece of your life. You are saying, here is what I saw. Here is how I felt. It is the best way to make friends. It is the best way to show who you are. Do not be afraid of making grammar mistakes. A funny story with bad grammar is better than a boring story with perfect grammar. People forgive mistakes. They do not forgive boredom. So go out there, find your stories. They are everywhere. They are in the supermarket. They are on the bus. They are in your kitchen. Pick them up, polish them with the story flow, and share them. Thank you so much for listening to this lesson on the Daily Echo English channel. I hope you feel inspired to unleash your stories. My name is Francis, and remember, your life is a story. It deserves to be told. Until next time, keep speaking, keep sharing, and keep learning. Bye for now.